Welcome to the Wodcast.
Where we explore the power and beauty of words.
We're your hosts. I'm Ben.
And I'm Mabel.
And today we have the joy to sit down with musician and songwriter Nick Mulvey.
Let's get into the words. Nick Mulvey, welcome to the Wodcast. It is a delight to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Your music fuses folk, indie and world music traditions, but it's your lyrics that linger. They have the quality of incantations, spare and unhurried, words chosen not to be just heard, but deeply felt. So Nick Mulvey, what is your word of the day?
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me, guys. And a pleasure to have a conversation just centered on words. The word that I have for you guys today is yield. Yield. Because as a student in London, I was standing on a train platform looking at the advert on the other side of the tube as I was waiting for the train. And there was a poster for, I think it was the 10-year anniversary reissue of a Pearl Jam album called Yield. But the point is that I was just looking at that word for 5 minutes, absentmindedly, as my train came. And then it occurred to me the word means both to produce and to surrender. And I just thought, that's the kind of thing that lights me up. I just thought, well, that's interesting. That's interesting. It can mean both. And it speaks to something that at that younger age and still now I find compelling. That the two are connected, production and yield. And I think it's compelling because it's not what we're told, it's not the narrative that culture conditions us in all our hard work and our effort, but that then it maybe speaks to something deeper or higher, which is about who or what we can align with and who's really doing the work and who's really producing things. And so yield.
What a fascinating word. And I do wonder, you mentioned surrender in your description, and I think surrender often has this connotation of weakness, of defeat, of giving up. However, when you look at it through the lens that you describe, connecting it to producing, it feels like quite an empowering word. So I was wondering what your relationship to surrender specifically is.
Yeah, I mean, it's whether I like it or not, it's a big part of my life.
Yes.
So my relationship to surrender is like often resistance and, suffering or pain or fear, and yet grace, and yet most or all of the best things in my life come through surrender. And I believe in my life, over the different points in my life, I can recognize that I have been strengthened through weakening.
That's really beautiful. And your recent album is called Dark Harvest, which is such an interesting title because what is harvested in the dark, in the shadow? And I wonder if that relates to this time of being broken down by something greater. Being humbled is what I hear.
Yeah.
What's been harvested in the dark for you, Nick?
Well, yeah. It does. The album very much relates to that, and although these are dynamics I can speak of throughout my adult life, it's not so applicable in childhood, but maybe. But yeah, I am specifically referencing the last years in my life, and well, I guess I could answer it on different levels. On one level, like, lots of creativity has been harvested in the dark. Like I released 2 albums last year because I had loads to work with, loads to write about, and I've got lots more coming up. But on a deeper level, it's this relationship with the divine that is only made possible when I'm not trying to do it all myself. And I kind of was, because that's what I was told was the right way to do it. and I love notions of surrender, and I could see the beauty of it as a young artist. I could see, but in terms of actually applying that in my life, it took some real costs, some real losses.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious.
And I'm still just a beginner, every day failing at this.
Yeah, and I wonder, when you first started writing compared to now, did you used to wrestle with words and now they've come sort of through you? Or was that something you always experienced at the beginning of your writing?
It would be a mix. There'd be moments where it would flow and land really uninterrupted, really well. I think for me, I would wrestle though, yeah. And I still wrestle, but I notice the wrestling is maybe a bit less. Like the wrestle might take the form of an unconscious tendency to raise my register when I was writing, because for some unconscious motive, like I wanted to appear sophisticated, or I don't know what, like, or whatever it was, my own like thing. I would, some lyrics that I like, but they are like trying quite hard. I remember looking at this book of Islamic geometry, that geometry you find through the Islamic world, and it was talking about the rose and the trellis. The trellis is a structure that we humans can make, and the rose is a structure that, an unfathomable structure that has an aliveness that grows through our very simple trellises. And it's a beautiful kind of like little phrase about, the limits of what we can do, actually. This is kind of what we're talking about. So I like that, and I put that, all we ever do is learn the laws of the trellis to better understand the rose. I mean, it actually sounds quite nice when I say it.
Yes. Very
The
poetic.
laws, and, I was hoping that would be an example of me trying too hard as a youngster, but I quite like it. But I've been through a process anyway of really just trying to settle in my own register. Then you can choose a register shift when you want it, but it's just, and that just took a bit of maturing, a bit of time.
Good things take time, I've been told.
They certainly do.
In your Dark Harvest album, one song is called Solastalgia. And I was wondering if you could explain this word to us.
Yeah. I gather it's a new word, a new term, and it was coined in the early 2000s by an Australian philosopher who, I can't remember his name right now. So I'm short of his name, but he was reaching to describe this sense of feeling like missing your own home whilst you're in it because of changes. So it's, you're in the same place, but things have changed, and so it's not the same place. So it could be used, I think it was applied, maybe even intended for to track some of the new feelings that we feel in an age of environmental degradation and or like biohabitat loss.
Yeah.
So and the changes around all the development and industrialization and I felt it on a personal level as I was going through shifts in my life at home. So yeah, different. He spoke to both at the same time.
Yeah. And it's a new word, as you say. Do you think we would benefit from having more precise words to express the emotional experiences that we have?
I think so, because it's a strong asset to anyone who has that. I can see that with my children, and and also as you move through the world. Whether we need it as a kind of as a larger group, probably yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think words, they really help you to understand what's going on inside. And then realizing that a concept such as solastalgia, where you feel not at home, although being at home, but that's what I'm hearing out of it. Like everything is changing. I guess it allows you to connect to a shared experience with others.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, why we have words for it.
Right. And put a definition on something quite kind of subtle or undefined, and then that helps you, process, doesn't it? It helps you understand what's going on. Yeah.
And do you perceive words as spellcasting? I mean, especially as a man who has a relationship with God, I imagine prayer is a huge part of your life.
Yeah.
How does that relate to your music? Do you find yourself sort of, like it has this quality of incantation sometimes? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, definitely. I have a great respect for the power of words, and was a teenager when I looked at that word spelling and saw it, and just went like, wait.
So good, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, there's some magic here. There's some power. I take my role, responsibility, or my platform, and that responsibility, I take that seriously. I don't want to be a part of perpetuating unhelpful stuff. Sometimes the balance there becomes about not trying to overthink things, because sometimes my best offering is my guttural, instinctive cry or something, like that. So, but yeah, I'm definitely aware of not wanting to, of the power of words, and then not wanting to misuse that.
Speaking of your words and the lyric that you already mentioned, I think it goes on with, because you got lost in comparison, always pretending you knew, when everything you were looking for was already looking at you. And that really stood out to me, and I was just wondering what you are looking for, what you were looking for, that you then realized was already looking at you.
It's these play with words to explore some of the basic dynamics of the moment, of being a self in a world of inside and outside. And I was very steeped at that time, which is about 2016, 2017, in the writing of my second album, Wake Up Now, and this song, Mountain to Move. I was enamored with teachings from the East, sometimes called non-duality. So teachings like from Ramana Maharshi, or from books like Eckhart Tolle, and how they dovetail with psychedelics as well, which has always been a thing. But also, like poetry. I love a lot of the poetry I'd read would explore these kind of places about. So, because I was lost in comparison, or you get lost in comparison. Yeah, it seemed to be like the mind is such a great tool, but is often the thing that entraps us with our like distinctions about reality, with what it can. Are we feeling joyful, or are we feeling frustrated? It can often just be around the framing in our mind around it. And so lost in comparison is a picking one of those kind of structures of mind, or the mistakes that we make, to kind of point to the whole mind thing. It's like I'm saying mind, we get lost in the mind.
Yeah.
So we get lost in comparison. They have a place, the mind and its discernments, obviously, but when they rule, it's a tyrannical master, a good servant, but they say. So we get lost in comparison, always pretending you knew, that thing of like, everyone walks around like pretending they know.
Yeah, so true.
What this is all about. So with that lyric, yeah, everything you're looking for is already looking at you. Is about the fact that, one of those teachings from the East would say, my mind, my body, and the world all arise within the awareness which I am, which we call I. Yeah. Now, saying I am English, or I am hungry, or I am a man is a qualification of that pure I.
Yeah.
And they all may be true, but they'll be temporary truths and passing truths. And what is a more permanent truth would be that I, that is, so, and that I, so my mind, my body, and the world all arise within the awareness which I am. And the I that I am doesn't share the same limits or destinies as those things. So it was before I was born and it will be there after I die, sort of thing. But it won't be me, Nick, the one who is. It would be something else, you know. So, all right. So I'm kind of playing with all that in those lyrics, you know, like because
big topics.
because well, and it's getting underneath the big topics. It has big topics, and then this is underneath them because it's like it's saying, at that deeper level, the I who I am is is indivisible from the world. So, and we are taught to overlook this primary non-object in order to search in objects for our satisfaction, but it keeps us on the train of dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
So that's very much the pull from which those lyrics and that whole album was coming from, and I believe it's true, but it goes through what I find an interesting modification as I've grown in the years, because I would notice in those years, I would sometimes read something biblical or sort of from that path, and I would see that the language was different. It was always couched in the duality. So what I was interested in was non-duality, like oneness. And there was a kind of an assumption that like oneness is the best, isn't it? Like, you know, that's going to be, and true, but, and there's an important but here, like those teachings from the East, absorbing them as I was largely through books or YouTube, not couched in the culture and raised in the culture, but as a recipient through some process of interpretation and dilution or whatever, it wasn't holding me enough as a man. It wasn't giving me enough to navigate this world. There was I guess you call it a bypass, or it wasn't really giving me enough in all my roles as a man. And I was kind of like very in a world of all that inspiration and that kind of all of that poetry and but it took some more living and some bearing out and some like challenges and massive mistakes and losses to go to kind of to start to understand that. And there's a thread of language here, because I find it interesting that then when I'm now on this path with Jesus, because I basically cried out and I said, I need you, Lord. Like I have been trying to be the chief of my life and that doesn't work. And so I then began this path of being with Jesus. And I then noticed that this language that was couched in this duality, phrases like, Father, make me a good ambassador for your kingdom. Like God is out there. And the one who's praying is here, and there's a kind of like it's almost like it leaves that deeper merging just to kind of be, and its position is a bit outwards on the spiral. Just let that be, and let's just be an individuated self in this world. And I noticed that this path couched in this duality has so much more for me. As a man, as a father, as a financial being, as a musician, as all these roles and these duties. So I track and trace the language through that journey.
Very interesting. And do you find in amongst these very, very profound and deep inquiries that you can lose words, where words just cannot suffice to hold what is felt or what needs to be said or sung or written?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot that is ineffable.
What a word we love.
Fantastic word. Important word.
There's a lot that is. There's not much that is effable. Then do we the other?
It's a good question.
Yeah. Well, that's where music comes in, and music takes over, because it's that movement in action that is just an expression in sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you studied ethnomusicology?
That's right, yeah.
And what is that
At
exactly?
SOAS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I studied at SOAS.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Great.
Global literature.
Oh, fantastic. Nice. I was there last night actually for a concert, and
Cool.
I really enjoyed being back there. So yeah, so I had an undergraduate degree in ethnomusicology at SOAS, and that was a very fertile time for me.
So you spoke about the Eastern religion and philosophies, and now the Christianity. I was wondering if you have identified some underlying truth that both advocate for.
I have to think about that one, I think. Yeah.
It's a big question.
Yeah,
I'll take it as a
because I think
Love it.
I do feel they all point towards God, but I'm in process with that answer.
Brilliant.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Good things take time.
Yeah.
Once more. Or maybe one day there'll be a song where you have maybe a hint of an answer, and I certainly look forward to dancing to it, because
Amazing.
that's another thing beyond the beautiful words and lyrics. It is your music that inspires the body to move, and yeah, just wanted to extend my gratitude, because it's so important that we do get to move this vessel around from time to time.
Lest we get too conceptual and
Not too much thinking about the
Right,
eye,
yeah.
where the hands are.
yeah, definitely. So much of and a lot of my best work with words comes from the body or in relation to movement, and or the process of holding an instrument, and that kind of thing, like, has a bearing on how words arrive. And so yeah.
We have spoken previously with different guests about the language of the body, as something that's always communicating to us. And if we do have the time to listen, we might discover maybe a truth that we tend to avoid or maybe ignore. And it's just something that, for me, I rarely dance when I'm sad. So it's like whether I'm just happy because of life, or whether when my body is just like had a good night rest, and in the morning I have a bit of time to put on some Mountains to Move. I also love that the album is called Wake Up Now, and the song, I think one of my favorites, is A Mountain to Move. And sometimes waking up feels like you have to move a mountain,
Right.
just to get out of bed and start the day.
Yeah.
But you're always grateful once you're out of the bed, and once I guess you've moved or climbed the mountain. So I just really like that connection.
Beautiful, yeah.
And if I may, I would like to read out another one of your lyrics that stood out to me. It's from the song Fever to the Form. So whether music or madness, we live by one of the two. So go on, fill your heart up with gladness. And I was wondering which one you live by, music or madness.
Well, I'm clear on what my aspiration is. My aspiration is to live by music.
Okay.
So in my understanding of that lyric, it was kind of like you can walk in harmony with, these days, what I call God, or we can live outside of it in our own strength. And I'm obviously clear in my judgment of those, in that, like, one of them is music, which is, say, harmony and order, and the other is madness, which is madness. So that's what I was kind of pointing to there, was like reaching for a base duality between music and madness. And that, yeah, we can live, as I said, we can live in harmony or out of harmony. So fill your heart up with gladness.
Yeah.
Not a moment too soon, just felt right. I mean, partly it's the rhyme with madness, but also, like,
It's beautiful.
it's a way out of the madness and into that music is through that heart-filled gratitude and
Gladness. Such a great word.
Gladness.
Just
it is nice.
saying
isn't
it out loud is just gladness.
As you started to use this word, God, more publicly, have you noticed a shift in public perception? Because it can be very triggering for people to talk about
I think so.
God.
Yes. And it's also often a game of guessing as well, because people don't always say when they are, like, some people are vociferous and vocal and,
Vociferous. We've got to pause that.
Okay.
What does vociferous mean?
You guys are the word guys. Like,
We're aspiring work
Yeah,
word.
and girls.
And girls. Word lovers.
Vociferous would be like vocal, I guess, but like with a certain,
Yeah, it's got the
a certain like.
Vociferous.
I've never
Pen is
particularly
going onto
analysed
paper.
that, but there it is.
Sorry to
Vociferous.
interrupt. I
Yeah,
just had
no,
to.
you have
Wow.
to. I get that. Some people will be vociferous and really let me know that they don't like that word, and I get that. That was me until recently, and I respect that as well. It's complex, and there's a lot of hurt, and so I hear those people, and then a lot of people are vociferous positively. Mm-hmm. And then you also don't know the people who aren't vociferous because you don't hear them. I'm going to stop using that word now.
One more time, maybe later, because it is a great word.
It sounds like a made-up word because it's too good.
Vociferous, yeah.
I thought it was when you reacted to that. I was like, wait, is that? I've heard that many times, yeah.
Vociferous.
I definitely didn't make it up. But so, yeah, I'm in a process of... of being true to what I need to be true to, and letting that change and modify what's around me as it will. But I do have a duty, I think, to connect the dots, to still really care about where I've been and what I've said and songs I've written and bring all that with me. There was a tendency initially, because I kind of had to renounce, personally, I chose to renounce a lot of self-directed spiritual new age seeking. And a lot of my material and artistry was like giving voice to that seeking. There was an initial tendency, because this is in the last 3 years, there was an initial tendency to kind of like, I just want to be absorbed in this new way. It's giving me so much. It's making so much sense. And I really care since then to actually to really bring it through from the past where I've been. And it's all, there's a place for it all, for sure.
And on the word God, I would like to read this quote. God is the blanket we throw over mystery to give it form. Which I think is very beautiful. So maybe next time someone is vociferous in a negative way, this could be a one-liner to just help them, not help them, but allow them to think of the word God in a new way. I feel like God is such a weighted word, right? It's got so much history and so much connection to it. And I like connecting it to mystery, because isn't it just mysterious that we're all get to experience this?
Beautiful. And what you say takes me to an interesting distinction of definitions around the word to know, because obviously in English we have two main definitions of that word to know. There's to know as in I know algebra, like I don't actually particularly, but you can know something as in intellectually grasp it, almost possess it. Yeah. And then there's to know as in be intimate with. Okay. To know a place or a person. It's like I don't know them in terms of I can't grasp the whole. You're immediately taken to the ungraspable, the mystery, but I know them. Like I know, and that's a really key distinction for me, because I've found in my experience that, like, although it's a joke to think you might grasp intellectually, the maker of, how can a cog know the machine? How can a teaspoon of water comprehend the ocean? And yet the other way of knowing is imminently available for us. Is absolutely available. That this creator wishes to be known. It is available to be known. It is longing for us to find him. And that takes us into another language thing, and that's another thread around the way genders are used through language, through as we approach the divine. But I find I can't, because of that intimacy, I can't refer to God as it.
Yeah. So it is very much a father figure
It is, yeah, in the same way that like I know that the earth is my mother.
So it's Father Sky, Mother Earth?
It is.
Wow.
It is. Like I see that the earth, I can see that the earth is my mother in her selfless giving.
Yeah.
And in her cycles and her weathers and moods. Like
That's interesting, those cycles, yeah.
And likewise, I find that it kind of holds, it feels right that God is my father.
It's interesting because that specific fact that in the Bible it's father and him was when I was younger what very much put me off, because as a woman in this world, you went, wait a minute.
I get that.
You know, and actually arriving at a point in my life now where there is that reframe of Mother Earth existing with Father Sky, you know, the divine. I felt I've been very much able to receive that deep love because before it was triggering because of the language, because, you know, women are unfortunately left out of a lot of mainstream narratives and language. So, yeah, it's where language can stifle us until we have an experiential feeling, perhaps.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I have various friends, female friends, who've said the same, and I can well imagine, like, you know, so I totally respect that.
Yeah, I'm grateful to have kind of moved past it, but it almost felt like the language was holding up the patriarchy and almost putting the concept of God within that, because it's like, well, where is the woman? You know, this is before I developed a relationship with the earth and could integrate the two. And it's interesting, this idea of duality.
Yeah.
I wonder how, as a man, as Nick Mulvey in the world, you know, how are you relating to this word man and masculinity? Because there's a lot of searching out there right now for what that means. And I'd like to hear your perspective on what that means.
Well, I have this kind of hunch that Jesus can play a real role in us understanding the masculine. And that's kind of new. So I was kind of a product of my culture in that I think I absorbed a negative, somewhere subtly a negative sort of picture of men or masculinity, and there'd be good reasons why. But I think, and I had a kind of, my spiritual seeking was very much like enamored with earth wisdoms and the sacred feminine. And it's been a rebalancing process of kind of integration to open up to the Father, God. It's not dissimilar to what you're describing, actually.
I was wondering, you were speaking a lot about the word of God, and if there is one word that you would like, that you think it would be good to come back to remind everyone, maybe one message, maybe one single word that would be good to hear.
Yeah, that we need at this time, perhaps.
Many come to mind. They, you know, it could be rest.
Rest, okay.
In that resting in the unhurried rhythms of His grace. I heard someone say once, which I loved. But what comes to mind is trust as well. It's a interesting thing to contend with, that trust means not knowing everything's going to be okay, but knowing that everything is okay. When we can plainly see that everything's not okay, you know, like it's kind of, language here is affronting us with the fact that there's many levels to reality in any given moment. And what's true on one level might not be true on another level simultaneously. So, I mean, I guess you call that a paradox.
Yeah.
So it's a paradox that everything's not okay, and we have things to attend to. We've got like mouths to feed and you know, and more dramatic. There's a lot of things that are not okay in this age, and at the same time, can we contend with an idea that things are unfolding, you know, that God is present through it all, and that they're unfolding for His plans and aims, and that level of trust is where we can source ourselves from. That trust is not knowing everything's going to be okay, it's knowing that everything is okay. I find that one really meaningful for me.
Yeah, it makes me think of the word ponderance, which I heard from Alison Armstrong. Do you know Alison Armstrong?
I'm not sure I do.
I think you'd enjoy her work. She wrote a book called The Queen's Code, and her whole thing is about bringing heaven on earth through helping men and women relate to each other, understand each other. And she talks about ponderance. When enough hearts on the planet open themselves up to love, there will be a shift. And we won't see it in the day-to-day of, you know, the traffic no longer being there, or everyone putting down their guns, but ponderance. Yeah.
So ponderance is, how is that used in that there? Like?
I need to do some research myself. It just came to me. She talks about the ponderance of that moment happening.
Oh, beautiful. To ponder, right.
I think that is, yeah.
Beautiful.
So it's like by us moving towards that trust.
Yes, you bring heaven down.
You bring heaven to earth.
Wow.
It really stuck with me when I heard that. Because of how, you know, capturing fear and doubt and all of those things are. I wonder, we talked about intentionality with language. Is there a word you'd like to bring back intentionality and meaning to? A word that is overused or has lost its richness?
That's a great question. And I released a song last year called Radical Tenderness.
Yeah, great song.
And as I was releasing that, I was kind of obviously living those words quite a lot. Like, you know, I was performing the song a lot, or like with, you know, in all the things you do, like with the music videos or whatever, there's every email's, you know, I was seeing that word a lot, radical tenderness. I was thinking about that pattern of language and radical honesty or radical, whatever, radical openness. And I was thinking actually like radical tenderness or radical honesty just means like actual tenderness and actual honesty. So it speaks more to the fact that we live in an age where there's such a kind of there's such a volume of words and rhetoric, and we are fatigued often by that if I really mean like honesty, I have to call it radical to make it cut through, so that you know that what I really mean is the thing, you know. So radical tenderness. But yeah, I think maybe that a word to bring back that is being misused.
Or diluted by overuse. As you say, there's so many words. I think the marketing companies have a lot to
I have a word
to take responsibility
I have
for.
a word that I don't hear enough, which is cuckoo-coo.
Okay.
Yes, and I was wondering.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Cuckoo-coo? Is that how I say it?
Cuckoo, that's right.
It's an incredible word. What does it mean?
Well, that's one of my own, more or less. That's a kind of a play or a half remembering of the more Latin, maybe Portuguese, Cucurucuru Paloma, which is a very famous song. So yeah, I was playing with my song Cucurucu. I was playing. It's the setting of a D.H. Lawrence poem called The Piano, a very famous and well loved and you know brilliant poem that I loved for years. A friend wrote it on an envelope for me, and I had it wherever I put it up on my notice board and stuff. And I then was strumming my guitar, and I thought, oh, that actually is the rhythm of those words. It could work so well as a setting. And the D.H. Lawrence's poem takes the listener through, you know, a boy underneath the piano and the boom of the tingling strings, pressing the feet of his mother who smiles at him as she sings. And D.H. Lawrence's poem has a full stop. And I thought, wouldn't it be beautiful if it was a colon and then we could now go into the voice of the mother who sings and we could hear what she's singing to him.
So the song is like an extension of the poem?
Yeah, I took a liberty with it. A liberty I might not take now, you know? Like I was kind of young and just like, yep, I'll just collage this and that.
That's beautiful. It's bold.
It was bold, yeah. I think back and I don't know if I do it now, but yeah, I was playing with the I just heard it.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful? What I want now as a listener to this is to hear what the mother's saying. Yeah. And that's where I put in that word, yeah.
So is there a definition or like a meaning, like for you personally? Like cuckoo means...
It's a sound.
It's just...
So
Okay.
it's not, yeah.
I see.
It's not a definition. A bird sound.
Yeah, onomatopoeic.
Yeah.
Could you share any more of the words that you've made up?
Well, Mayella was a character
Yeah.
who landed in my world, and I was like meeting her in many ways. And these things, they often come. In fact, these onomatopoeic ones, they almost always come just through the music of it all. So I'm writing a song, and I've got guitar pattern, and that guitar pattern will naturally suggest to me a kind of melody, shape or phrase, and that then starts to elicit sort of words, and then I might just leave it as a melody sound sometimes. So I started singing "Oh My Ella, My Love." It's a song that became called "We Are Never Apart." "Oh my Ella, my love, can you hear?" And I then used the name Mayella as well as the chorus of another song called Mayella. So it was appearing a few times as this kind of female presence in my songs there. And then I looked up the name, and it turns out it is a name, and it means a girl whose smile lights up the room.
Wow.
And I was really pleased with that.
Oh, what a gift.
And you didn't know that when
No.
the word came to you?
No. So those things happen.
That's special.
There's others as well, I'm sure. There'll be more somewhere, but yeah.
You didn't get to the answer on a word.
So it's a great question. There are definitely answers, lots of words like that. I think that might be my answer actually, but I've been a part of the dilution in this needing to preface a word with the word radical in order for us to just understand. No, that's the word I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you're going to be radically punctual, that just means being on time.
Yeah.
But it has to be, or radically honest, just means, I just thought about it, it's like radical honesty is just honesty.
So true.
But it's by putting radical in front of honesty or tenderness, it names or speaks to the fact that it is not common and it is not true.
Yes.
Because for it to be radical, it somehow, what does radical mean? I mean, it means it's out of the ordinary. It's unshakable.
Right. Right.
You
Radical's interesting, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, radical.
what's it doing there?
What's it doing there?
Yeah,
But
it's
also,
the-
like, the radicalization of young minds. You know, it's a
Right.
word that in different contexts
Yeah, it means almost
means...
an intensification or a kind of almost like amplifies it,
Yeah.
whatever comes next.
Yeah.
Puts like a spotlight on the next word.
Right, yeah.
What would you make radical?
What would I make radical?
Yeah.
Radical napping. Yeah, I think...
Great. I like
He's
that.
passionate about napping.
Yeah.
And it's quite amazing. You're
That's
very
it.
skilled at it.
I think it's... I hope that in the future it will be, more common that people choose to close their eyes after lunch
In this
or
part
in
of the world,
afternoon.
because they do it in
Brilliant.
Italy
You're
and
right.
Greece and...
I guess in my world, what I get to see. I don't know, do you nap sometimes?
I have great admiration for that. And don't nap as much as I'd like. I think it's something I'd really like. I think I could benefit from radical napping.
What about you? What are you going to be radical about?
I think for me, it's like radical love is my inquiry right now.
Radical love.
Yeah, like love without wavering and love that is unshakable, you know, in every area and sphere of this experience of being Mabel, you know. Because radical love is like, it's not easy. It's not easy, you know, for me at this time, because there's a lot that closes the heart and you kind of don't even know it's happening.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, radical love.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Fill your heart with gladness.
Should we just start talking to each other next lyric? Because there is a mountain to move.
Right.
There is a mountain too. Wait for the next one. Who knows?
Yeah.
For the What Lives.
Exactly.
And speaking of alive.
What?
Speaking of alive.
Yes.
What would be a word you would like to be remembered by?
Enamored. By which I mean that I was enamored with the love for God. Not that I was enamored myself. That's less what I mean. More that he was
Enamored.
was absorbed in love for God. Yeah.
So what a way to go out.
Yeah.
Nick Mulvey, it's been an absolute pleasure.
An honour.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
A true joy.
Me too.
Thank you for joining us at the Wodcast.
Pleasure.
Thank you for joining us today with Nick Mulvey here at the Wodcast. It's been an incredible conversation, especially how he brought words to life that I've never heard of. Like cuckoo.
Cuckoo. Cuckoo.
What stood out to you?
I like the word vociferous.
Vociferous?
Yeah, I've never heard that word, and I'm going to try use it this week.
Yeah, and there was another one, solastalgia?
Solastalgia,
Solastalgia.
yeah. Please share with us the words that you perhaps didn't know, the words you liked the best from the episode.
Yeah, and it was just also amazing to hear his reflection on his own lyrics and how in, I guess, one part of his song he would go into such big questions. So
beautiful, really
very
beautiful.
powerful reflection. So thank you, Nick, for joining us today. Thank you, everyone else, for listening. If you do enjoy how we connect different crafts from music to writing to business through the power of words, please support the channel by...
Subscribing?
That's the one, yes.
Following?
Almost forgot.
What words do they say?
I think sharing is important.
Sharing.
Yeah, if you can
we
share
love
with
sharing.
someone.
Sharing it with someone who you think might benefit from it.
You know, there's this saying, sharing is caring, I believe.
Yes, sharing is caring. So share this episode with anyone that you think might love it.
Wonderful. We'll see you next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday.